It's really important to kind of know, again, what is the goal? And the goal isn't always to send traffic to your website. It's like, what do you want them to do once they get there? Because traffic to your website doesn't make you money unless you're a blogger with advertising, but I don't think a lot of designers are. So you've got to really kind of think of like what that process looks like.
It's Kris from KVM Design. We're here for a new episode of the interview series. I'm so happy that Leslie's joining me today. Hi.
Hello, thanks for having me.
I really wanted to talk to you today because so Leslie is a social media strategist, and I was really interested in Pinterest. So I know you're going to tell us more, but I know you specialize in Pinterest and Instagram, I believe. But yes. Pinterest is like this new tool. You know, I think a lot of people are just on Instagram, but the Pinterest is amazing for so many reasons. And I've read so much about it, and I have so many questions for you. So I hope you can, help us out, you know, to understand how good it is for interior designers to use. So yeah, like, can you tell us just a little bit more about who you are, where you're based, and how long you've been in social media?
I am in Oklahoma City, really just right outside Oklahoma City. And I have been doing social media strategy for about a year now. A little bit about my background is, and how I got even into social media is, and I don't even remember how many years ago this was. It's been a long time, but I had my own children's boutique, and I handmade all of the items that I sold out of the boutique. I had a booth at a local store, and then also I had an Etsy shop. Well, the Etsy sales it was hard because Etsy was, and still is, very saturated. So I needed a way to kind of promote myself. So that's when I turned to social media. And that's really when things started picking up, because I was able to connect with people all over the country, even in other countries, and really kind of grow my business that way. And I always really enjoyed that aspect of it. So, I did close the children's boutique and raised my children, and they got a little bit older, and I thought I need something to do now. So I wanted to kind of take what I had learned from that and help others.
And at the time, which platforms did you use to market to promote your store?
Well, this, again, like I said, this was way back in the day. And I think Instagram had Instagram had just started. And I actually used Facebook, because back then it was a lot easier to promote yourself on Facebook, a little bit harder these days. But then I did use Pinterest as well. If I need help with Facebook, we do put together a strategy. A lot of times what happens is they'll have a Facebook page, which you have to have if you have a Instagram business account, but you don't want to just completely neglect the Facebook page. So I'll work with clients and just how to, use that, because you don't want people to go there, because a lot of people will find you. The first thing that they're going to do is they're going to look for your website. So that's why it's important to have a website. And then the next place they're probably going to go look is Facebook. So it's just a presence, and to let people know, like, oh, okay, so this is a legit business. I offer Instagram strategy and Pinterest strategy. So for Instagram, I work one-on-one with my clients to really kind of lay a good marketing foundation. I know a lot of people, when they come to me, they don't necessarily have that foundation, and it's so important. So we lay that foundation and then put a system in place, so they're not overwhelmed about knowing what to post and things like that. I also have a course that teaches how to use the strategy, or how to put that strategy into place, for yourself. And then in 2021, I am going to be offering a group program for the Instagram strategy. So, and I also offer Pinterest strategy, again, working with one-on-one clients, just to really identify what their specific needs are and how to create a strategy around those goals. I do offer a group program, and in 2021, I would like to offer a course in that as well.
Wow. So you're doing a lot. I'm impressed that you're still working on like by yourself, because it's just doing a course, and now you're starting the group coaching. But if people are trying to do it by themselves, obviously it's quite hard when you're trying to be on like different platforms. Like I think a lot of people just try to do Instagram. Like for me, I think 90% of my time is on Instagram. But then, I have all this info about Pinterest being so good. So why is Pinterest so important for designers?
I think it's very important. And one of the reasons that I do really believe in the power of Pinterest for designers is when you look at who is on Pinterest, that user base. The majority of Pinterest users are female. They are between the ages of 25 to 60, which that is a big age range. But they have a lot of times those particular users have a little bit more disposable income. They're going onto the platform to look for ideas and to make purchasing decisions. So if you think about a designer's target market, that's where they are. So they're on that platform. They are looking for inspiration. They're looking for ideas. So that for sure is a great place to kind of catch the eye of somebody who's actively looking for design ideas or service.
And it's true that when I was working in an office, I was spending so much time on Pinterest because it's such a great platform to find inspiration, to find products. So it does make sense. But then to see results using Pinterest as a marketing strategy too, because Pinterest, if I understand correctly, we would use it to increase organic traffic to our website or Instagram page even. Is that right?
True. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
yes.
how long, how much do you need to pin, and how long does it take to actually get results from using the platform?
Sure. So as far as the number of pins you need to be adding, this is going to vary greatly because you're going to have, and it also is going to depend on your goals. And that's kind of where everything starts, whether it's your Instagram strategy, whether it's your Pinterest strategy, it all starts with, okay, what do you want to accomplish with this? But to talk about the amount of pins, you're going to have people that come and they're going to have a ton of content. Right? And then you're going to have other people that come and don't have enough content. So it's going to vary depending on how much content that you have. Now, one of the things you do have to consider is when you are on Pinterest, you're a content creator and you're a content curator. You want to think about your target market and you want to be sure that you're adding content, whether it's yours or if you need to go out and find somebody else's, so that, will help add value to your account and keep people coming back. So the long and short of it is, I always suggest try to start with 10 pins a day, whether it's your pins or whether it's repins. Now, and also follow the 80-20 rule. You don't want to completely overload on just your content. You want to pin it strategically. So if you're going to do 10 pins a day, aim for 2 of yours and 8 repins. But if you can do more than that, obviously, if you can do that strategically without being spammy, then maybe you aim for 20 a day.
Yeah. And okay, so let's say you do 10 or 20 a day. How long does it take to actually see results, like an increase in traffic on your website or your Instagram? For me, it's a mix of trying to get people to my site, to my blog, or get people to my Instagram. So yeah, I'm just wondering how long it takes to actually get some kind
Pinterest is a slower game. Yeah, it's definitely a slower game, and you're going to have some pins that are going to perform really, really well. You might have some really high traffic, but really what you want on Pinterest is not necessarily this big spike. You want something that's going to give you consistent, consistent traffic back to your website, or consistently bringing people over to your Instagram. So while you look at these, big numbers and they look big and shiny and you're like, oh, yay, that looks amazing. It's really about what is the type of content that can what's the best way to say this? That can consistently bring people back to your website.
Yeah, that makes sense. And can you, for example, from one Instagram post, just create like 10 different like pages, like templates of the same? Is it like a good strategy to do like kind of different templates of the same Instagram post or blog post, so that you see what works best in terms of design, for example, or keywords?
Yeah, no, definitely. You definitely want to experiment. You definitely want to experiment and see what works best. So yes, I mean, you've got a combination of, the keywords. You have a combination of graphics, what's going to attract, people to stop the scroll and click on your pin as opposed to others. But you want to experiment, and then but you also want to be, I always go back to that word strategic, because if you're not putting it, it's got to make sense, right? So like you want to think about it also from the user's perspective, because that is what Pinterest is really all about. It's about the user experience. So if somebody comes to your account and they go to a particular board and the first 10 pins that they see is the same content, with just a different picture, it's not a good experience for them. So you probably don't want to do that all at the same time. You can spread it out, or maybe you take one and you put it to another board that's relevant to the type of content that you're adding. But yes, you do want to mix it up, use different keywords, but don't go overboard with it.
That makes total sense, actually. Downloaded your the keyword guide that you have on your website right now, and I started going through it. So the keywords that you have to use in your Pinterest strategy, it's basically all in the title, right? And I guess the description as well, but it's not like hashtags or anything.
So there are hashtags on Pinterest, but so just think of those hashtags as keywords. So whenever you are writing like your title or your description or your board descriptions, you want to sprinkle your keywords in there, right? Because Pinterest is a search engine. So Pinterest has got to have a way to basically take your content and match it with user searches. And that's what they're doing through the keywords. So really, and the way I explain it in the group program is that keywords are for Pinterest, and your graphics and obviously your content is for the Pinterest user. So you have to be mindful of both of them, because if you have great content and you have great graphics, if Pinterest can't match that to a user search,
it's pointless.
And it doesn't, your content's not going to get out there, nobody's going to find it. So that's why keywords are so important. To me, I will say it's I have used Pinterest for years and years and years personally. I've got boards from everything from chickens, which I'm never going to own chickens, but I have a board for it, to, meatless meals. So but when I decided, I was like, okay, well, I feel like I want to use this. And basically, I was told, like, you should use Pinterest. It's great. It's great. Well, when I got on there, I was like, it's not intuitive. I had no idea what to do. So when I first started using Pinterest for my business, so that's when I ended up taking a course, and then just keeping at it, just working at it. And like anything else, consistency. That's what you need. You have to be consistent with the platform.
And with keywords, I think, everybody should spend some time doing research as to what the best keywords are for what they're trying to pin. But it's true that as a user, when you start, for me, when I started going on Pinterest, you could stay 2, 3, 4, 5 hours on it, just looking at all the pins, because then they have similar pins, and it's such an amazing platform.
It is.
And yeah, I heard about Tailwind. So to schedule your pins, are there any like free alternatives that you can use, at least initially when you get started, that you're not too sure if Pinterest is for you, and I think Tailwind is like $14 per month.
Sure. And Tailwind does have a free trial, and I would suggest that everybody try out the free trial. One of the things that I really do like about Tailwind, not only can you use it to schedule your pins, but they have a feature which is called tribes. So the way I try to explain tribes to people is like, think of Pinterest group boards. So you've got these tribes basically are around a certain theme. So maybe it's digital marketing, or for a designer, maybe it's all about interior design or kitchen design, or, things like that. But you want to find those tribes because they're going to be posting similar or adding similar content to the tribe. And then, so it's going to be easy for you to say, whenever you're looking for content to repin, you go to your tribe, there it is. And then you can add yours. So when other tribe members are coming, they can actually repin yours, and that just really helps circulate your content on the platform.
That's quite good.
Yes, yeah, and that is something that you won't find on other planning tools. And the only other one that I've used that is free, Planoly has a Pinterest scheduling option. It is pretty limited, especially on the free plan, because I think you can only schedule like 30 a month. So if you're looking at doing, if you're serious and you're wanting, okay, I'm going to be pinning or repinning 10 pins a day. Yeah, you're going to go through it in 3 days.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Okay.
And also Pinterest, you can actually schedule your pins on Pinterest. You can't schedule repins, but like if you are going to create your own content, and that's actually what I suggest. I have found, and I know that they say, especially with Tailwind, because Tailwind is there's a term for it, but a partner, like a recognized, anyway. So I can't remember what that's called, but the Tailwind also did come out with a new feature recently, and it is really cool. So it's called Tailwind Create. And this is really good if you don't like creating the graphics, and it can be time consuming, and sometimes it's just not in everybody's wheelhouse. Like that's not their thing. So this particular feature in Tailwind, you can go in and you basically set up like your brand colors, your brand fonts, you pick out a few images, and you put in your title, and it spits out like tons. I don't even know how many there are. It's almost too many where it's overwhelming, but images that you can use. So with the click of a button.
Well, it sounds too good to be true.
Yeah, it really is a cool feature.
It takes a lot of time to create the pins, and especially because, for example, if I want to increase traffic on my Instagram, then I kind of need to change the format for all the images, right? Because from one, it's, I don't know, like
the size, is that what you're?
Yeah, the size is different, so then I need to change all of the images. I can't reuse them, and obviously you need to add more text, and it needs to be, the graphics need to be really punchy for the users to pin them. So it's quite time consuming.
It is. It can be very time consuming. So but yeah, and I think that one, I'm not really sure. I'm not even really sure which, because obviously I've been on Tailwind for quite some time, and I think I even upgraded to their Plus plan, and I'm not 100% sure where you have to be as far as what level of Tailwind you're on to get the create. But if creating graphics is a soul sucking task for you, then it might be worth it to spend the extra money, a month and have the feature.
Okay, cool. So basically, for interior designers, Pinterest is a great platform. It takes a little bit of time, but it does really help to increase traffic to your website, to your Instagram page, to wherever you want to increase traffic. And you should just be consistent with it and just pin regularly, like a mix of your work and other people's work.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like everything, be consistent, just keep at it. And use keywords. So I really recommend people to download your guide and it's really beautiful as well. Like, it's really well made. So yeah, people should definitely download it. Where can people find you? What's the best?
Sure.
Please.
Sure. So Instagram and Pinterest, that's where I hang out the most.
Gosh, I can't believe I'm not following you on Pinterest.
So you can find me on Instagram at swink.social.co and then at Pinterest just at swinksocialco.